I think this is a fair video to make, right? I know the Red Wings have themselves a few highlights that we can talk about. The game against LA yesterday definitely was an interesting one. But when it comes to the prospects in the system, I definitely do feel like there should be still a focus on a lot of these players because they are supposed to be the future of the team. And when it comes to the future, there is indeed one player that I feel has the potential to be one of the bigger game changers as the years go on. He was a first-round pick taken by the Red Wings back in the 2021 NHL Entry Draft, 15th overall. It is Sebastian Cossa, the goalie. Let's go over Cossa and his entire profile so far, what he's been up to, and where he's actually been played so far in 2022-2023. Now, just in case you needed the update here, Cossa was the first goalie drafted in the 2021 draft after years of people saying that Jesper Wallstedt was going to be that franchise-altering guy. Kossa's a big dude, he's 6'6", and in his draft season he posted up a .941 save percentage and a .157 goals against. Absolutely phenomenal numbers, which is why he pushed himself up to the top of the goalie rankings and was eventually taken 15th by Detroit. The season after, he wasn't as great statistically, but he still was a pretty good goaltender. Goaltending was actually kind of down in the entire WHL because, lo and behold, it was the first full season after the pandemic started up, and Cossa had himself a .913 save percentage, a .228 goals against in 46 games, and a .919 save percentage in the playoffs as the Edmonton Oil Kings went to the Memorial Cup. You then had yourselves this season, where Cossa, starting out for the Red Wings, was supposed to be a guy getting a few looks here and there. Many said that the plan should have been just to play this guy in Grand Rapids and see what was going to happen, but that ultimately ended up not being the entire plan. This is because a week ago he was sent to Grand Rapids, and a lot of people were saying, okay, this is going to be interesting seeing the goaltending battle going on over there, because for the Grand Rapids Griffins, you have Victor Broadstrom, you have UC Olkinuora, you also have Jonathan Lethman. There are a few guys that are in the system, and adding Cossa to the mix is just going to make things a little bit more complicated. Give it a few more days, and it turns out the Red Wings actually reassigned Cossa to the ECHL's Toledo Walleye, alongside of Trenton Bliss and Kirill Chutyev. Now, if you don't know, the ECHL is like the second tier league. It's the league under the AHL. It's the third tier top pro men's league in North America. The ECHL used to stand for the East Coast Hockey League, but apparently it doesn't stand for that anymore. It's just the ECHL, which is really weird when you think about it. Either way, though, Cossa has gone down to the ECHL, which is a very interesting move. A lot of people would go out there and point out that, hey, most goaltenders that actually have NHL potential don't end up touching the ECHL at all. In fact, it's rare to find NHL caliber guys who played in the ECHL, period. The amount of players that go from the ECHL to the AHL to the NHL is quite small, so it is piquant that Sebastian Cossa, a 15th overall guy with draft pedigree through the roof, is getting sent down this path. Now, it makes a lot more sense when you acknowledge who else is available in the Red Wings goaltending system that, hey, there are a lot of guys fighting for spots not just in Detroit with Husso and Nedeljkovic, but in the AHL as well. There are a boatload of guys rotating around, getting starts, getting relief periods, etc., and Cossa is just another body getting added to the rotation. This is why they sent him down to the ECHL, because they pretty much said, hey, we want to give Cossa reps. We want to give him an opportunity to actually play and have a bigger responsibility on a hockey team, because if he's in Grand Rapids, he's not the guy over there. He is one of like 4. In Toledo, though, he is the main guy. There's nobody else in the ECHL's goaltending department that is better or even of the same caliber, supposedly speaking, of Sebastian Cossa. So having him down there to be the main player is in and of itself an opportunity to showcase longevity and his capability playing with pro players in a number 1 starter type of role. And that makes sense, right? That was kind of the philosophy that everybody was talking about. In fact, he played a game for the Walleye in the preseason. This is what Chris Peters said. I was in Kalamazoo last night, where Cossa played the whole game for Toledo in ECHL preseason action. The first shot he saved was a 2-on-0. He made a spectacular save and several more after that. He finished with 29 saves in a 6-2 win. He looked outstanding. Eventually, you had yourselves the next day after this game, where the Red Wings ended up taking Sebastian Cossa and reassigning him back with the Griffins. And then you had Bliss and Tutiev recalled from Toledo as well. So a lot of people were going out there saying, hey, wait a minute, what the hell? You sent these 3 guys down to the ECHL for a preseason game and then you recalled them. It took 1 day for these guys to get their ECHL fix and then get called back up to the second-tier league in the American Hockey League. What gives? And I know this is very strange. Like, seeing multiple guys get sent down, they play a game, and then they get called back up again, it's a very weird thing. But there are a few reasons that I could try to brainstorm when it comes to this. Hopefully, it's just something as simple as, hey, maybe you can go out there, get yourselves a game, play a game, and then come back over here with just a tad more experience of North American pro hockey. Maybe it was somewhat of a tryout for anybody in the Red Wings organization to say, hey, what's that Sebastian Cossa guy looking like? Is he good enough to stick around in the AHL? Does he have that swagger, that mojo that you need to be a pro hockey goaltender? Because, again, WHL, it's not pro hockey, it's just junior, so it's a big transition in terms of speed, in terms of talent, in terms of capability, in terms of the size and everything. So maybe just a small ECHL tryout would be beneficial to this kind of guy. And now he's back over here in Grand Rapids, hopefully going to get some starts once things get going. In fact, if he shows off in Grand Rapids as well as he has everywhere else, if he's good enough in the Griffin system to, let's just say, be the starter, take over the crease over Brottstrom and whoever else is over there, Okunura, maybe there is an opportunity if, knock on wood, you have yourselves one of Husso or Nedeljkovic each getting injured. If anybody gets injured, then hey, maybe Cossa could be a guy that goes from the ECHL to the AHL to the NHL in the span of the same year. I mean, it's rare enough to see NHL caliber players, or not caliber players, but just players in the NHL who played in the ECHL period. It's even rarer to find those guys who do that all in the same season. So, I don't know. I'm not going out there and wishing any ill will towards Nedeljkovic or Husso. Those guys can stay healthy and play 41 and 41 games for all I care, but if somebody does get injured in some capacity, if somebody has to take a day off or whatever, if Kossa's good enough in the AHL to get that call-up, I would absolutely love to see that. See a guy go from the ECHL preseason to the AHL regular full-time and then the NHL, that would be fantastic. Of course, though, he has to outplay everybody else in the system before that is a possibility. I mean, at the moment, the Grand Rapids Griffins goaltending is not great. I mean, Brottstrom, at the time of recording this audio, has an 8.688 save percentage in one game. Okunura has a 7.86 save percentage in one game. Brottstrom actually won his game too, which is kind of funny, but it's interesting to say the least. But Cossa, all he has to do is show up and be good enough. Might not sound like the tallest of tasks, especially for a guy like Cossa, who is 6'6", but either way, talk to the console your thoughts about the very strange progression from Detroit to Grand Rapids to Toledo to Grand Rapids for Sebastian Cossa, all within the span of about a week. If you're a fan of the Walleye and you ended up catching the game where Cossa suited up and made the 29 saves and the 6-2 victory, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what your opinions were on his game. But if you're a Red Wings fan in general, what are your thoughts on the Griffins and their goaltending situation, your thoughts on Cossa and the development path that he is bestowed upon? What are your thoughts on what the Red Wings should do? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99, and bye.